Oh, I'm doing pretty good for a young man.
You listen things?
Yes.
I feel like something's wrong with you because I ain't experiencing anything.
There's nothing wrong with you.
But I've been past for a while.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with you, Lauren, at all. It's just that different people's DNA explode differently at different times, right? You know what I'm saying? Some things to direct and guide you into out-of-body experiences and try to open up a third eye and a lot of things like that. So what I'll do is, if you stay in touch with me, I'll work with you personally, and until we get that really, really revved up in you, okay? Get that, we'll open you up, okay? All right, I'll do that. Just call me tomorrow. Yeah, I got a revelation for everybody tonight, too. I want y'all to know. I'm going to repeat that. Next question. Look, let me open up the door, okay?
Well, Orion constellation and how it's tied to
Okay, the Orion constellation is just one of the constellations that has a group of stars in it that have planets in it that are revolving around certain stars. That was the first. In other words, when we left planet Risk as Riskians, because of the depletion of the ozone layer by the plutonium bomb, the first that we went to in our exodus was the Orion
constellation.
And it was one of the stars in Orion's belt, one of the three stars in his belt is where we migrated to first, right? And that's why that it's stated scripturally and historically that the home of Osiris, or our home, is Orion, which is another word that can be translated literally for heaven, right? Because it's one of our homes. Another thing about the Orion galaxy that makes it very interesting is a lot of people don't know that
constellation
straddles the 19th and the 18th galaxy. In other words, the Milky Way galaxy, which is the 18th galaxy, the one that we're in right now, and the 19th galaxy, right? The Orion constellation, as it rotates, sometimes it bleeds over into both those galaxies. Are you following me? So it's kind of a doorway between Ilion, or a stairway between Ilion and the Milky Way. After we migrated from Risk, because of the problem we have with the atmosphere, right, and the ultraviolet rays from the tri-star solar system. No, from Orion we migrated to Mars. We migrated to different places. For some in the Sirius star constellation and different places throughout the galactic. We migrated to a lot of different star systems, but the place that we migrated to in this solar system first, the planet we migrated to before Earth, was Mars. And we created a civilization there
450,000 years before we migrated to Earth.
Yes, but we went to other star constellations as well. Yes, that's right. We're cosmoses. And so what happens is that some of those life forms, they still travel interplanetary between Earth and Orion, right? And what your proof of it is that on the Martian landscape, in a place called the Plains of Sidonia, there's a pyramid complex city next to the Homo erectus face where the Adama project was set up. And those pyramids, the main major pyramids, are lined up with the three stars in Orion's belt, as well as on the Giza Plateau in Egypt. The three large pyramids are lined up with the three stars again in Orion's belt. And deeper than that, right, the major star in that constellation at a certain time of the year, the beam, when it beams down to Earth, they have the trajectory of the beam timed in so accurately that it strikes the largest pyramid, the main pyramid, not just on the broad face of it, but right in an 8-inch by 8-inch rectangle opening on the outside of the facing in a shaft that points perpendicular down into the king's chamber to light up a wall that has in hieroglyphs an explanation of who they were and when they came here and how they set up this project. Isn't that fascinating?
And the pyramid complex on Earth and on Mars are both on a 19.5 grid.
Humanoid beings, except that they're much more evolved, right? They're at least 100,000 years in advance of us in every way. Physiologically and of course mentally and spiritually, of course, right?
What type of
No, it's already in your DNA, but the corrections have to be made. For example, let me say that when they did the Adama project, the genetic hanger that they used was the great apes on this planet, right? So they spliced their genes into like the Homo erectus, the Australopithecines, and etc., right? And what happens is you don't have to be a scientist to really realize that when you mix human DNA with any kind of an animal DNA, right, that you're gonna create an incorrect form, or you're gonna make some deformities or some things that are out of whack, right? Are you following me? There's certain ones of us here that have enough spiritual and mental and intellect and light inside of us in order to be intelligent enough to rejoin the Galactic Confederation, and those will be the children that they're looking for to take back up, right?
In an event commonly referred to as a rapture.
Yes, they are, and the majority of the cases they're going to take your physical body, but there'll also be those, for example, the question should arise in your mind, what happens to the brothers and sisters that are faithful and true that have already passed on? Then they'll be raised up spiritually. Because you all are the ones that used to cut out those stones with light amplified stimulation, emission, radiation, laser beams, and levitate them, and have the intellect to construct all those pyramids and other edifices, you know, the giant, the things that you did that were so accurate, and et cetera, and did all of those works of mathematics and medicine and healing and all the wondrous things. It was you all that did that traveled here intergalactically. Are you following me? And been traveling in the cosmos since the dawn of history. But you've forgotten. You went to sleep as inosites, and you've fallen down from building pyramids again, like I said, to picking cotton. So it's got to be him that was sitting for the reawakening of the elite few, the 144,000. Melchizedek, Atum Ray, which is in one sense you could think of as a higher aspect of your own consciousness. Are you following me? And that might sound like a stretch, but when you think about him telling you that you're the center of existence and all things are equal distance from you, meaning that I'm the center of existence and all things are equal distance from me, if all of us are the center of existence and the center is all in one place, then that's the actual, and then he's Al Cook making him the heart center. So when he says that, for example, you and I are one, and all of us are one, right? Say he is one, then that means we're all in the same place. So the illusion must be that you're over there and she's over here and you're you and et cetera, like Poconos and lampshade, right? That's the ultimate of it, right? So what it is that we have to identify with the fact, turn our perspective inside out, and remember that we're the creator and not the creation, and that way we have control of what happens on the next page or have the power to open the door. In other words, Simon Peter can't walk on water if he doesn't believe or even know that he can. In other words, the only thing that prevents you all from being God 100% with 100% of your powers is the fact that you don't realize you are. You're not conscious of it. You don't know it. Are you following me? Right. You have to remember. Okay. I think I understand your question. On a subliminal level, we all can feel each other's pain. Even if you're on a highway and you're passing by a tragic accident, the car is mangled up, you stop and crane your neck and slow down and try to look because you really feel compassion for the person in there, not because you know them, but because in your imagination you feel a sense of kinship and you imagine that it could be you. And that's what makes you feel for another person that you don't know. Are you following me? Now, when I say that we're one, and you wonder how one person can treat another bad, going against the lessons of the sages, saying, do unto your brothers and sisters as you would have them do unto you, treat your brother like you would yourself, it's because at some conscious level, they're just not aware of the oneness, right? That's all. And then the way that you can really analyze that is to you look at it on an individual basis. Look at each one of you brothers and sisters, and if you'll be honest with yourself, there have been many times in your own personal experience in your life that you have done things that was harmful to yourself, and you premeditated the harm it would do to you before you did it. Now, those that are honest will admit it. Is that true?
Right.
So have you ever done things, Terry, to hurt yourself?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I ain't good. I ain't good. I just
Well, I don't know. I don't know that you didn't do it deliberately. Now, you feel what I'm saying? Because a lot of us have eaten things we shouldn't have, or smoked things that we should have, or said things and did things that we shouldn't, and it was deliberate. We knew it was wrong when we did it, and it was wrong for us. Okay. Now the question would be, my question to you would be, is the one asking the question knows better than the one being asked. Why is it that beings treat each other bad like that, right?
Right.
But the answer would be in the experience of you as an individual being doing things to treat your own self bad, and it would be easy to overstand from that perspective, right? Not to justify or rationalize. It wouldn't be easy to justify or rationalize, but easy to overstand. Right? You can see it. If you can't see it, keep turning your question. That's a law cause and effect that you created, right? Yes. In this physical, that's a principle that's applied to this physical plane. But at the absolute of you, as the oneness, you are the causeless cause. You do things because you want to, and there is no effect. Could I explain what now? At the absolute level of oneness, there is no effect because yours is the causeless cause. When you're talking about all, Fa'u, his is the causeless cause. He does it because he wants to. What could be the effect of repercussion on him? Who's going to carry out I'm saying, what could be the effect on all for whatever he does? That's right, that's it. But I'm trying to tell you that you are the all. Which brings me to you all's revelation, right? How long has it been since I had a powerful revelation for y'all that the Most High has brought a revelation to me? Quite a while, huh? Well, I'm telling you, put your seatbelts on because this is serious, right? Because we're going to take, y'all ready to go to another level, right? I mean, really another level. All right. When Atum says to you, you are in all and what? All is in you. That's right. So, if all is in you, what's outside of you? If all is in you, what's inside of you? Okay. No, I mean, so what's outside of you? What is outside of you? What is outside of you? That's right. There is no out there, right? So you can see that statement is real, right? Now let's confirm that. Does anybody want proof of that? Practical proof. I'm going to let you touch something that's intangible. Are you following me? And I'm going to give it to you in your hand so that you can look at it and analyze it and actually handle it. Something that's lighter than ether. I'm going to let you touch it, right? Okay. When you look at the cosmos, so you see Malachi's or Atum is coming out talking about diagrams about multiverses, like I had you asked about multiverses. I sent you some stuff on that too, right? When you talk about the vast extent of existence, the blackness of space, the boundless universes, right? Can somebody tell me what they think that is? That's exactly right. Now, of course, first off, let's establish what a greater reality is. Once your physical eyes open, your vision again is restricted to the parameters of the room you're in, to the floors, walls, and ceiling, right? But when you close your physical eyes, you can again see your school teacher in the 12th grade, or you can see Atum on the sandy beach, or you can see yourself in another city, and you can see the future a lot of times, right? Am I right? So where's the greater reality? Where's the large reality, outside or inside? That's right. In fact, everything is inside. Let me explain something to you. Even what you think is outside is inside too, because when you see things that you think are out there, where are you actually seeing them at? Where's the picture manifest at? In your mind, right? Inside, right? So what you think is outside is actually inside as well, right? Okay? Is everybody following me?
Yeah, you didn't take a question on the exercise. Just that.
Okay, what is the question? Okay.
How do we turn ourselves inside out if it's so outside?
I'm getting ready to show you. It's a perspective. It's like looking at a thing from the top down instead of the bottom up. Right? Or from the outside in instead of the inside out. It's just like if you place a child that's born inside of a room that has no doors or windows, right? And the child grows up, never leaving the room, and then you ask the child to describe the perimeter of the building. Can he do it? The exterior of the building. Can he describe it? No doors or windows, and he never been out the room. He can't describe it, and that's what. And as long as you all are trapped in the mud of your flesh, listen. As long as you all are trapped in the mud of your flesh and consider yourself physical beings, you're in essence like that little boy that's been born inside of a room with no doors or windows, and you can't describe the outside of it. Now I'm going to show you how to describe the outside of it. I'm going to take you out the room tonight, okay? All right. The reality is that these boundless universes that you think about, right? Turning yourself inside out is simply this, Terry, to answer your question specifically, is that you figure that all of us are in the universe, right, Terry? We're in the vast black extent, we're in the universe, right? No. The universe is in us because we're all. In other words, if everybody here, if I ask you right now to close your eyes and don't think about anything, what do you see? Blackness, right? Just blackness, right? Blackness. Now, let me ask you a question. If you close your eyes and look at that blackness, can somebody here try to measure where it begins or where it ends? Okay, so let me tell you something. What I want you all to realize when I say that you're God, I want you to realize tonight that these universes and multiverses, they're in you. That is the blackness of space. That's the universe inside of you. You just saw it. And the reason I say that you're not in the universe, but the universe is in you, I just proved that to you, that it's in you, all is in you, right? Because there's something bigger than a boundless universe. It's you. You're the all, and you created that. Once you understand what I just said to you, you just turned yourself inside out. Because now you realize you're not in the universe, but that the universe is what? Is inside of you. You've just turned yourself inside out in your perspective, Terry. I just took you out the room now. You hear me? Is anybody woke tonight? Do you realize what you're hearing? Do you see where you're at? In other words, I've given you a key that's going to make you understand many, many things. Now let's take it a step further. I am in all, and all is in me. All is in me. Now we've confirmed that the existence, the vast extent, the boundless universes are inside of you. We've established that, right? If anybody doesn't see that, please ask the question. Okay, I said that the universe is inside of you. Can you see that, brother? Okay. Now, that means everything that's contained in physical existence is inside the universes, right? So that's proof that all is in you, right? And you know that the universes are described as boundless, right? And you just discovered that the blackness inside of you is boundless because there's no beginning or end to it, right? Now, what you did with that, in other words, Pa'ut is the mother womb of all. It's a mental reservoir. This is a thought world. Are you following me? So what you did with that vast blackness, that vast extent, after you created that, then you created things in it, images and likenesses in it, right? So the first thing, when he said, I am in all and all is in me, now I want everybody to close their eyes again, and inside that darkness, I want every one of you men and women here to see yourself in your own mind. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Can everybody do that? Can everybody do that? Okay. then if you can see yourself inside there, then you know not only is all in you, but I am in all, and all is in me. Both things are true, right? Okay. Now what you did is you created. Now let me ask you: Can you see your house in there?
Yeah.
Can you see the sun and the stars in there? So you see, where's all the universes? Where are the sun, stars, and trees and people? Where's everything at? I am in all, and all is in me. Is anybody waking up tonight? I said you all are gods and goddesses. Who don't believe it? Atum Ray said that you are the all, didn't he? And he said there's nothing outside that's not inside of you. He said that you are all the center of existence and all things are equal distance from you. Is that what he was telling you? He said, you are in all and all is in you. Did he tell you that too? He said all those things to you. He said all those things to you, right? My question is tonight, after what you just heard, are all those things making sense to you now? Are they becoming clear to you? That's right. So now you see, he came giving you what you, in other words, if he would have approached you with those concepts before about multiverses and that all things are in you, etc., from the beginning, everybody would have been running for tall grass, right? So he had to give you what everybody was involved in religious schools of thought, right? So he had to come giving you what you wanted first, right? In order for you to learn to want what it is he truly had to give, you see? That's what you're doing. That is what you do. That's what you do all the time. That's what you're doing all the time. It's mental constructs. You created all of it. And you create it continuously. Everything is being created in the universe inside your boundless mind. You are the creator. I'm trying to tell you, you're the author of the story. You even created one another and yourselves. There aren't any 22 characters in your story. They're just 22 different expressions of one universal mind. And that vast blackness that's inside you, sister, and inside you, brother, is the same one that's inside me. Is only one. And that's the center of existence. Okay? Rahul. That's right. He can materialize. That's right. And wedding rings and he let me explain something to you. He materialized upstate New York and Tamaray too. He did it mentally. Now I sent some of you a CD by him called Malachi Surprise that was never published for the public, but it was something that I had. One of the personal jewels I have from him, right? I named it Malachi Surprise, where he explains how he used his mind to create Tamaray in detail, visualizing the grass and the people coming in and out the pylon, down to the way the humidity was and the weather, the people that were happy and the ones that were uncontented, and every brick in the temple, and he visualized these things until when it became a clear vision, it manifested. Anybody here recall having that CD by him that I sent to them? I know you do. Who got it? I called it Malachi Surprise. I know you got it. I mean, I'm glad. You see where all of you got it. I hope you all are listening. When I send you things, are you all really listening and studying this stuff? Okay, sister, the sister that doesn't have it, make sure you call me tomorrow because we want to correct that. Everybody should have it. You're creating everything mentally. Let me give you... Okay. Look, I gave you an example before. Remember, I gave you all the examples, but I'm going to walk through it again. That you're driving down a regular city street, wherever you are, and you notice that there's a gas station on the corner. Then you drive back by 2 weeks later, and they tore it down, right? And then there's a vacant parking lot out there with nothing but tumbleweed and grass. But then there's a billboard there with an artist illustration of an apartment complex and drawn that says soon renting, 4 bedrooms, $600, 5 bedrooms, this, that, etc., right? Nothing but a vacant lot. And then some people drive by and see that sign, they go to that address, and then they go to the office. The woman's got the model of the place on the desk, and they put down a down payment on it. And when they accumulate enough of them, they use that as collateral in order to go to the bank to back the project. And then a year and a half, a year later, you drive by that same vacant lot, and it's a big apartment complex with gates swinging, sprinklers, flowers, children playing, cars going in and out. Everybody experienced something like that before, right? Okay. My question is, where was that apartment complex really created? In the mind, whoever conceived of the thought of it. Whoever thought of the idea, it was a mental creation. Whoever thought of the concept. You see what I mean? Are you following me? First there was the thought that created the energy that acted upon and shaped and formed the matter. Are you following me? Nobody ever builds a house by starting out with lumber and bricks. You start out with a blueprint, an idea of what it is that you want to create, right? You don't even say a word without thinking about it first, do you? You don't even say a word without thinking about it first, do you? So it's biblically incorrect for them to say in the beginning was the word. How could that be? Because if there was a word without thought, I don't need to hear it. In the beginning was the thought, right? And that's where actually it gets its original name, thought, a Tahuti, right? Where they derived the word thought from, right? Is everybody seeing that anything that you can visualize, you can conceptualize, anything you can conceptualize, you can visualize, actualize, materialize, and thereby realize? Let me say it again. Anything that you can conceptualize, you can visualize, materialize, and actualize, and thereby realize, okay? First is the thought that creates the energy that shapes and forms the matter. Matter and energy are interchangeable. An example I gave you is a cigarette, that's matter. When you light the cigarette, the light and the heat become two forms of energy, so you convert the matter back into energy. And thought and energy are interchangeable as well. So if you can interchange thought and energy can be converted into matter and back and forth, then that means that thought and matter are what? Interchangeable. That's how you say to a thing, be and it is. You can convert thought into matter. Are you following? Are you following what I'm saying, Terry? Anything that you can conceive of, anything that you can think, anything you can think, imagine. That's how you create the images in your mind. What's the first word in imagination? Image and likeness.
Example, let us create man in our image and likeness.
That's right. Because he knew he could. In other words, remember what I said to you earlier, Terry? You remember I told you earlier that the only thing that was preventing you from being a God with 100% of your power was what? The fact that you're not conscious of it. Because that's right, because you're not conscious of that fact. You can't do it because you don't believe you can. Why is it that Malachi can make candy? Well, why could Jesus walk on water and you can't do it? That's right. Why can a surgeon perform intricate brain surgery successfully Or a concert pianist sit down and she can play Bach and Beethoven without missing a note, and you can't. Because, but you see, it's the surgeon and the pianist and Jesus that knows that you have all the same hand-eye coordination and all the attributes that they have, and you can do anything that they do, but you just don't know how. So all of your powers and your abilities, they're latent, they're dormant inside of you. You have to be awakened again, and you have to be made to remember, because inosight, you have fallen to sleep. You remember I told you all that there's nobody here but you, right? You saw that vast blackness in your mind. There's nobody here but you. And you knew that originally, that you were omnipotent, omnipresent. You were everywhere, all powerful. You could do anything, that you were loving. You could persevere. You were generous. You were courageous. You had all these divine attributes. But you never experienced them because there was nobody there but you. And there was no way that you could analyze yourself to see who and what you were exactly from another perspective, because you're the only one there, right? So you pondered on that. So you pondered that longer than the age of the universe times the age of the universe. How long did you think about that? All right. Okay, so what you decided to do is that you wanted to create another aspect of yourself so that you could see yourself from another perspective. Like another person, through another person's eyes, even though there's nobody there but you, all right? So what you did is you divided your consciousness up into different units of cells that you called angelic beings or humans or something like that, different beings. Are you following me? 46 trillion created beings. Are you following me? In the same way that Sybil has 7 personalities, and each one of her personalities is totally unaware of the others. Are you following me? Inside one mind. Remember I told you about the CIA agent that's an engineer by day, but he gets a call from the CIA at night, and they give him a password, and he's a killer, and then all of a sudden they give another password, and he falls back into being a family man and a father again, and he's not aware of the other life that he lives. Because there's different cells inside of his mind where his consciousness is divided or split. So that proves to you that even on your level that you can do that. And what did Malachi say? All can what? I can. That means if you can, then all can too, right? So you know as the all that you can split your personality, your consciousness up into separate cells so that you could be more than one individual and they don't have to be aware of each other, right? Yes. So let me explain. Everybody here is the same mind split up into different cells in the same way that an author writes a book and he has 23 different characters in his book, men, women, and children. After the book is written again, I ask the author, where did each one of your characters get their personality, their spirit, their animation, their thoughts from? What's the answer? From you. You wrote the book. So the truth is ultimately, do you have 22 different characters or 22 different expressions of one mind, because they're all really you? They're all really you, aren't they? Well, we're all really the all. Are you following me? Okay, I want you to have a clear picture of it. But what it is that when the reason that you need to be turned inside out is because you've been identifying yourself with the character and not the author, with creation and not the creator. And as long as you identify with the character, you don't have any control over what happens on the next page, right? But when you reconnect with the fact that you are the all, and you realize consciously that you are the creator, then you have control over creation. Then you can create candy or do anything, right? Because you remember you're the creator. You're conscious of it again. You remember who and what you really are, right? As long as you believe that you're a created being, then you restrict your own power, your own abilities. That means that you're limited, right? You believe in birth and life and death and all these things. You've gotten too involved in your own creation. Are you following me? You're starting to believe that really is you. And you've limited your own self. Okay, now let me go back to what I was saying. When you divided your consciousness up into these separate cells like angelic beings and men and women of 46 trillion created beings, then, so that you separated yourself into 46 trillion created beings, they're still aware, every one of them, of the fact that they're still the all, right? So they all still know their God, right? Okay, so there's still no way that you, in other words, if I ask one of you, if I say, sister, I want you to analyze the way you think and I want you to use your mind to do it, you would be frustrated by the question, right? You would say to me, C-Shat, how can I use my mind to describe the way my mind is thinking and I'm thinking with it, right? Okay, so in order for you to really analyze who and what you are and the way you really think, you have to see yourself through another's eyes or from a different perspective, right? So, since you cannot divide yourself, because all cannot become less than all and still remain all, right? So even if you divided yourself consciously into different cells, right? It still remains the absolute reality. There's nobody here but you, right? So how do you get them to analyze you from a different perspective? They have to not know that they're God. What you did is you caused each one of these units or these aspects of your personality to forget. You erase the memory of who and what they are from them and reduce them to enocytes of forgetful beings. Is everybody with me? You see, is everybody with me now? And then when those aspects of your personality, which is us, of the characters in your story, didn't know, they forgot who and what they were, then they thought of themselves as mortals, right? And they didn't know where they were at or who or what they were. They didn't know they were God. If you would have gave them the memory of it and made them into beings, they'd have woke up in the castle, as the white woman said, right? They'd have woke up knowing they was God, and it would have defeated the purpose, right? And they still wouldn't know who and what they are because they wouldn't have any way to judge it, nothing to measure it by. But as mortal beings from a mortal perspective, and you were totally forgetful of who and what you really are as the Creator, then as you start evolving and growing again, you're really you're motivated by this fascinating pursuit to discover who the Creator is. Isn't that why you're in this class tonight? That's your ultimate search. You want to discover or rediscover who the Creator is, right? You're trying to find the source of existence in yourself. That's what you're looking for. And you want to discover or try to figure out the nature of God. Who is God? Where is he at? That's what you're trying to find out, right? You want to find out who God is and who and what is God, where is he at, how is he for real, right? And okay, now as you on this long path, walking on this short path, right? What it is that inside your own creation, you have the opportunity in your creation to be faced with different challenges that give you the opportunity to experience whether or not you are courageous or you have perseverance, or what kind of a temper you have, or whether you're giving or loving or forgiving, or all these different attributes, if you're strong, right? Or patient. So you get the chance to experience who and what you really are. You really get the chance, even in the dark and sleep, to really discover who and what you're made of and what you are and what you're really like. Are you following me? And it's an honest evaluation because you don't know who you are. Can everybody see that? And now as you continue on your quest, and Atu Ray manifests and leads you the way to all directly, and you reconnect in order to raise up, eventually one day take the mask off the face of God, the most fascinating and wondrous thing of it all is when you take the mask off God, who is it? It's you. What a beautiful thing you've done. I'm going to tell you something. Y'all some clever people. Y'all clever. Yeah, everything you created is, but it was a method to the madness. You did it for a reason. Don't you see how smart that was?
I was saying that that's been the question on my mind. Boy, I'm trying to get this straight up here. I still apologize. The challenge is true, the thing that Lord is here. I know it, what you're saying. I understand that. But it's still in my mind because it's like, definitely a part of it all. All that I did, all that I do. When I think that's a I definitely I challenge that.
Okay, I just proved. I just did. Let me say something about right knowledge. You know, you got certain criteria. You have certain criteria for right knowledge, right? It's through experience, reason, etc. Proof and experience, right? I gave you all enough criteria for right knowledge to prove it as a fact. Does everybody hear me? Because I didn't just make blind statements. I used you as an example, and your own experience is proof. Are you following me? I invited you to go inside and analyze the darkness in your mind and to see yourself in it to prove that all is in you and you're in the all. I took a step by step. I used examples that you could relate to in order to prove it to you through your own experience. Are you following me? In other words, man himself is proof on that day. You're proof yourself, sister, in itself. You're the proof. I just described to you how to recognize it. Now, if you have questions about what I told you, then take your time and ask them to me, and then I'll figure out another way to bring it to you to make it even clearer. But does everybody else understand what I've been communicating to you this evening? Yes.
Yeah, we apologize.
No, don't apologize for anything. We're always glad to have you here, and you add a lot to the class. No. Inquiring minds want to know. There's nothing to apologize for. You're doing a beautiful thing, and you're here to ask questions so that you can get answers. All I'm asking is that you can think of another way to ask the question so that I can make it clear for you.
Okay, I think I'm going to ask it a different way.
Okay.
What it is, yes, we all are in the all, but when we're trying to manifest something and it's not coming, I think that's where we fall backwards.
Exactly.
And get confused as to, wait a minute, I am all, and all, how come I am not manifesting what I'm trying to manifest?
Let me say one name, Simon Peter. Simon Peter. In other words, you know, as long as you believe it, then it's going to be true. But when you doubt, then it becomes not true. You're not effectively a creator anymore. Are you following me? It's only as real as your belief in it. In other words, look, when you say to yourself, I'm going to get that home right there, I'm going to visualize this new house, and I'm going to get that house, and that's going to be mine, right? Let me tell you something. That on a conscious level, as a mortal being, when you say that, you can convince somebody in the car next to you that you mean it, but you see that being inside of you, the highest aspect of your conscience, you can't fool her. If you really don't believe that in your heart, sister, the universe is not going to start creating it because you say it. Are you following me? But when you know it, then it becomes a fact. Is everybody with me?
Okay, I understand. I was trying to put it where something was saying this is trying to bring out. So I just put it a different way.
Very good. I'm inviting people to put it different ways because see what it is. I want you all to totally explore this and ask every kind of question you want right now because I told you this is revelation from the Most High through me for you. So it's important that you all get it. Get it, get it, get it. Not only so that you can see it and understand it, but so that you get it so clearly that you can teach it to others and wake them up. Are you following me? You see your responsibility? So don't leave here until you absolutely understand that you are all and all is one with you, that you are the creator.
Okay, can I go back to the piano example?
Okay, let me say this first. Let me say this before you do, Terrell. One person asked a question the last class before last, the brother said, okay, I can see where we're gods. I can see that with the little G and the S, right? But he said, I can't see myself as the big G. Anybody remember that?
Right.
Okay. let me put it to you. Let me put it to you another way to show you that you are the big G and the little G, right? Now, when you're looking with your physical eyes, that's the little G. But when you close it and you see things in the past and through the walls and through time and in the future, that's the all-seeing eye, which means that's the eye of all. Is everybody? Wait a minute. Let me talk. Okay. What happens is he said, okay. He said he's not the big G, he's the little G with an S, right? He couldn't see how he could be the big God, right? And I'm asking you to analyze, do a self-analysis. If you're looking right now with physical eyes, that's the little G, right? But when you close your physical eyes and use your mind's eye, you can see through the walls and through time, see your best friend on the playground in third grade in front of you out in there. And sometimes you dream about things and you wake up and a week later something plays out in a physical plane before you and you tell the person next to you, I saw this in my dream a week ago. So for everybody that believes it's only memory that you're seeing, tell them that I said you can't remember the future. So the all-seeing eye can see all things because it is the eye of all. Is everybody with me? Okay. Were you in the house? Remember the example I gave you? You in the house and your significant others in the kitchen, and they arguing because back and forth the spirit and the mind is battling over whether they should get something to eat again after they've already been filled. And then you ask them, baby, who you talking to? When you got your third eye, in other words, you're looking with two physical eyes, that's the little G with the S. And then when you close your eyes and you use the all-seeing eye, you can see the past and the future. Remember, you've had dreams, and then a week later something played out on a physical plane. You told the person next to you, I saw this in a dream a week ago, which is evidence that it's not just memory because you can't see the future. You can't remember the future, so it's not just memory. There is an all-seeing eye, which is actually the eye of all, so all is in you. Or you hear your significant other in the kitchen after they've eaten and they're already full, and then you hear them talking. The spirit is
willing, but the flesh is weak.
The spirit, they're going back and forth in the spirit because they want to eat and they've already eaten. And you ask them, who are you talking to in the kitchen? And they laugh and say, you caught me. I'm talking to myself. Everybody experienced that before? All right. Well, when they say I'm talking, when they say I'm talking to myself, right? I want to know who is the I. It's just the EYE, the all-seeing eye. That's all talking to the creation, right? Myself. Because it's I, them. That's them, right? Correct? And myself is also them, right? See, the myself is the little G with the S, and the I is the big G, O-D. Is everybody with me? So which one is you, the big G or the little G? And the little G. Because you're all, right? Because you're all, right? Now, can you see it better from that perspective? Does that make it easier to see? But you still getting it, though. Is everybody getting it? Have you all? It's not been too broken up for you all to get the revelation, though, right? Do you all really understand? If you don't, please ask more questions right now. Torona, you saying that all night long you didn't get any of it. Okay, the key points was that there was a brother that was saying that he identified when he was the small G with the S as far as God, but he didn't believe that he could be the big G, the creator God, you feel me? And I told him he was both, right? And I'm giving you evidence in yourself through your own experience in that when you look at things with your physical eyes, Rona, that's the small G with the S, the small God. Are you with me? Creating the image and likeness of the big God. And then when you close your physical eyes and you see things with your mind's eye, like the front of your house or your 12th grade teacher, or you lay down in a dream and you see something that plays out on a physical plane one day and you tell the person next to you, I saw this in my dream 2 weeks ago. For the people that say to you that what you see in your mind's eye is only memory, tell them that you can't remember the future, okay? Because you saw something before it happened. So that's the all-seeing eye. They can see through time and space and through walls, and they can see the past and the future, and they can see all things, right? The all-seeing eye is the eye of all. That is all in you effectively working. Are you following me? So when you're in the kitchen, and you're one of your kids in the kitchen, they talking to themselves, and you catch them, and you say, baby, who are you talking to in there? And they laugh and say, Mama, you caught me, I'm talking to myself. That ever happened? Okay. Now, when they say, I am talking to myself, that's EYE, the all-seeing eye that's talking to them. That's the eye of all that's talking to myself. Now, see the physical form, the lower aspect, the creation, the physical body, right? The small G. In other words, the I is the big G. That silent voice and tell you that always tell you don't pull up that old lady's flowers, that's never wrong. That's the big G. And the little G is the one that be arguing back, right? So when your child say, I am talking to myself, my question is your child the I or the myself, or both of them? Which one? So is she the big G or the little G? That's exactly right. That's my point. That means that you are the author and the character in the story. You are all. It's amazing, isn't it? It can be downloaded into you. In the same way that Malachi has the answer to every question. Because at some level of your consciousness, you're aware of everything, because you're the all. What does all know, Terrell? Everything. All things. But what happens is when you identify with the character in the story as that's me, then you limit yourself. Are you following me? You think of yourself as a man, right, Terrell, as a man in the universe and God's creation, right? Okay, well, the more you expand your consciousness, the more that you're going to be able to know and receive, right? A spiritual master can do anything, including raise the dead, walk on water, or split the Red Sea, or create a planet, right? And answer any question or play the piano, yes. That's right. I would say that a being that's capable of raising the dead can perform brain surgery, right? Any being that has the conscious ability to raise the dead can perform brain surgery, right? Which is evidence that shows that the ancient Egyptians used to perform what? Complicated brain surgeries, right?
So let's say somebody never played the piano, but just sit down at the piano right now and play the spot.
Yes, that's right. Well, let me say this. At some level of our consciousness, yes, you know how to play a piano, you know how to make a piano, you know how to do everything else. But you have to know how to learn how to tap into that. And that's what you've forgotten how to do. Okay? When you remember who and what you really are, and all your corrections are made, and you come into 100% knowledge of who and what you are, then you can do 100% of anything.
Thus the statement, all can, I can.
But see, you still have doubts about the all. You still have doubts about all, don't you? As clear as I've made it for you tonight, you still have some doubts about it, don't you? But it's different. It's different for everybody. Let me ask you this here. Does anybody know what a savant is? A savant, like a child with Down syndrome, right? Okay, now some of them are born, let me talk to you. Some of them are born, we can't sing together. Some of them are born, and like a blind person that develops other senses to compensate, there are certain aspects of their consciousness that make them inherent artists. They can shape and mold, play and play pianos and things without ever being taught. Is everybody with me? Now, how is it that they do that, Terrell? Just start playing pianos beautifully. You know, like hear something on the radio and play Bach. They can just hear Bach on the radio and then get on the piano without lessons and play it back. Or just get clay and just shape up beautiful people and horses, or do artwork that's comparable to Gauguin or anybody else. Are you following me? Yeah, but they can't hardly talk. It's because well, it's not important how they do it, Terry. What it is important is for you to know that they can do it without being taught. That was your question. Your question was, can we do that without being taught, right? And my job is to always give you proof of your questions, not just answer them, but give you proof of it, right? I think I just did.